What's going on, guys? This is Barnes Brigade 99 coming to you once again with another session of Dark Souls PvP. Alright guys, and once again we're doing just another day in the Burg. And actually, my first opponent is good old Godly, the person that I fought against in the Battle of the Build Volume 2 series. Alright, now, luckily he's not using that ridiculous chameleon mage, well, chameleon faith mage. I hate when that guy does that. You know what, and before I start getting into it, I absolutely hate that ridiculous roll BS. Alright, so I think that's a perfect opportunity to talk about it. There's a lot of people who do this ridiculous roll BS, and the reason why I don't like it, and as a matter of fact, I don't really mind the lock BS's, and I think I was talking about this before. I don't also mind, people who do that circling technique. But the roll BS, I absolutely hate it, right? Mainly because you cannot defend against it. Let me give you an example. These people who hit you with the roll BS, what they do is, in a lot of cases, they jump behind you right in the middle of your swing animation. You see that? What could I do about that? You can't do anything. Right in the middle of your swing animation. And see, there I go getting ticked off because of those two roll BS's. Anyway, they kind of get you in the middle of your swing animation. And because you're in the middle of that animation, trying it again, because you're in the middle of that swinging animation, you can't do anything about it. Case in point, you take the spear. You have to, once you thrust out, your body still have to retract back to its original position. By that time, you've already been BS'd. Right? And the main reason why I hate those, as I said before, is that you cannot defend against it. Because what can you do if you're right in the middle of your swinging animation? You can't do anything. So in other words, whereas with a lock BS you can kick or you can do something else, and whereas with the circle technique you can counter circle or you can also kick, the roll BS you simply cannot do anything about it. Right? And I've asked a lot of people about that. Like, holy crap, dude, what do you do to defend against it? And I have yet to meet anyone who can come up with a viable defense against that roll BS. And that's why I don't really roll BS. Now, in some cases, I will roll BS if you're kind of trying to stand right behind me. To kind of hit me with a chain backstab, but other than that, I don't do it. And I've heard a lot of people say, hey dude, why don't you punish with the roll BS? The reason why I don't do it is because it's unfair, in my personal opinion, because you can't defend against it. There's nothing that you can do about it. Right? As I said before, with a regular lock BS, you can defend against those. You just simply kick when you see somebody charging. The circling technique, you can do something about that. All you do is counter circle them, or you can also kick while they're trying to circle you. But, can you do anything when you're in mid-swing? You cannot do anything. And in a lot of cases, I'll face some guys who that's basically all they do. And it's not that they're beating you with some type of, tactical gameplay. They're beating you because you simply cannot defend against it. In other words, to the extent that you're fighting the type of person that waits until you swing. I mean, you have to swing, right? In other words, how do you beat your opponent without swinging? But if all they're doing is sitting on you and wait until you swing, it's kind of like, dude, I don't even have a fighting chance because you're just waiting until I swing. And then, once I swing, you're hitting me with it. Or you'll get the second type who, they'll kind of get close to you. And I've noticed this a lot, and it absolutely boils my blood, right? They'll kind of get close to you, and they'll kind of do this triangular, repeated jump type thing, right? Where they just kind of get close to you and they'll jump like, they'll flip like 3 times around you and then they'll eventually land it. That's ridiculous, dude. Get over it. So I don't know. If any of you hotshot players out there knows how to defend against that ridiculous roll BS, please tell me or do an instructional video. I would definitely like and sub if you create one, because I'm sick and tired of getting roll BS, right? Because you can't do anything about it. Now, at least the other ones you can defend, but you can't. Now, back to what I was saying before I went on that rant. And the reason why I went on that rant is because those roll BSs actually enrage me, right? Because you're stuck in a situation where you're just victimized, right? So back to what I was saying. Now, in this particular vid, I really got into a whole lot of trouble. And actually, I caught a lot of losses, pretty much. Mainly because I ran into a whole bunch of the Twitch dudes. And now, as you guys saw, I don't know if you guys were paying attention during my rant, but I think the first 2 fights was Godly, which is on the on a lot of the stream. And he doesn't have his own stream, but he does participate in a lot of the guys who are streaming. And then there was Short Dude. I think I fought him after I fought Godly. And here's good old Black Mercenary, right? So actually, I have run into a whole bunch of problems in this particular video, right? And that's why, and there's no justification. Who really cares about losing? I don't, right? There's some diehard guys out there who even get to the point of tallying, right? They'll even tally. Look, dude, this how many times I won, or this how many times I did this move. So what, dude? It's only a game, right? I'm not trying to get my name in the history books of Dark Souls PvP players, right? I'm a commentator, right? All I do is comment on things. Now, some of those hotshot dudes, like Dark Souls, Mind's Eye, Pep, you want to gauge your skills against someone, you play some of those dudes, right? But I am an average player who do nothing but commentate, right? That's what I like to do, talk about things. I wouldn't even put myself on the level of being good. I'm just kind of average, right? All right, but as I was saying, you want to gauge yourself against them? Okay, shout out to good old Short. Tighten him up with the good old poison. You guys want to gauge yourself, because I kind of get invitations all the time, and I think to myself, like, why do they want to fight me, right? Because, in other words, just because you see me on YouTube doesn't mean anything, because I'm actually horrible at this game. Right? I get caught all the time with things. Now, this is definitely not to say that you guys only get my wins, right? Because I think that kind of creates a false image, and I don't like to create false images. Actually, what you guys see is what you guys see. If you see me going on a run, that's just a run that I went on, right? But in a lot of cases, I lose a lot, especially when, I fight against some of these Twitch dudes. And this is why I like to send out my invitation to all of you players who, kind of like honor dudes and you kind of like fighting through certain rules. Or if you think you're, rather awesome as far as gameplay is concerned, and you'd like to fight against some real good players, go to the Twitch. I think I have kind of said this in a few of my videos. See, that was a hot shot move. That guy just parried me with no shield. See that? As I was saying, this is why I kind of been giving the Twitch.tv guys kind of shout out in my last few vids, because I think there are a lot of awesome players, right? You have the Godlies, who's awesome. Short Dude, all these guys are awesome in their own rights. And actually, you got good old Pep on there. So if you guys run on there and try to fight Pep, you'll probably get like 50 losses straight. Right? But, there's a lot of good players out there. So if you guys, kind of hotshot guys who think, you're just awesome, go ahead and go into the Twitch. Now, I don't really check it out during the week, but I do check it out on the weekends. And I can almost guarantee there'll be a lot of PS3 fight clubs And I think there are some Xbox fight clubs. I know there's a guy from Europe somewhere. He's usually on there on D Invader's stream. I forget his name, so that's why I'm just saying D Invader. But I know he has an Xbox, I believe, although he does play on PS3. You know, so a lot of you guys, you know, think you're pretty good in hot shots, or you know, kind of like fight clubs, go on Twitch TV. All right, so enough about the Twitch. I think I did enough advertising for that. All right, so we're back at it. We got this guy with the high-speed boar helm, and actually he's trying to roll BS me too. Because if you notice, another technique that they'll do, they'll kind of hit you in mid-swing, just like he's doing. See? I hate that. What can you do about that? You can do nothing. And actually, I actually had an opportunity to BS him there, because if you notice, we kind of had a simultaneous jump in the same direction. Right? I just chose not to hit the R1 button. See, he's trying to do it. You see this crap? And I guess he got sour that I beat him the first time, so now he's bringing out the high-speed Hornet action. Whatever, dude. Alright. Okay, now that was a high-speed dead angle attack. And you could basically tell when you kind of look at the direction that they're facing. And if you notice, they kind of do a complete 180 attack. I think he's going to get me on this one. That ultra great sword is definitely dangerous. Now, you see this? This is the type of crap that I run into. Right? I actually get ganked pretty often. Sometimes is from a lot of guys who are pretty much sour for the most part. Right? And what do I mean by sour? There will be some times that I'll kind of run into a run where I'm beating a particular person probably about 6 times straight. Right? And what I'll notice is after a certain point, they'll start popping the divine blessings or popping the humanity, whereas within the first few fights, they didn't resort to such measures. Right? And I say all that to say, look, dude, it's really not that deep. If you suffer a loss, you simply suffer a loss. Right? No need to get sour about it. You know? I mean, I'll lose all the time, and I do not resort to some of these things. If I get beaten all the time, you know, by the same person, then it just is what it is. But there's really no need to resort to such tactics, right? You don't have to be a sourpuss. You're not losing any money. You know, you don't have your life on the line. You know, you don't have your house or your mortgage up for grabs. You know, for which if you want my mortgage, anyone can take it. Because I sure hate paying that monthly bill every month. But as I was saying, it's really not that serious, dudes. Alright, so we got good old short dude. Now that we got him on the scene, here's another question. Now, he's actually the only person that I've run, and I'm being completely honest. He is probably the only dude that I have run into that parries the way he does. Now, I'm not saying there aren't any other good parriers out there. Obviously, you have, you know, good parriers like Pep. A lot of other dudes that do not get as much as exposure as some of these YouTube guys, but there are definitely some good parriers out there. But that guy, I swear to God, I mean, it's kind of like you're almost paranoid to swing. And in my personal opinion, the only way to deal with somebody like him is to punish his parry attempts. Right? Because what you'll notice is, any of you guys that are familiar with fighting against Short, you know, kind of like Fourth Sequence, I know he fought against them. I know a few YouTube guys have fought against them. That guy will hunt you down with the parry attacks. Right? And we've even gotten to the point, and actually, a little while back when I used to play against them, I simply used to kick, and that kick was sufficient. Now the guy has gotten to the point to where you throw out a kick, and right after he defends against the kick, he'll parry you again because he pretty much knows that the kick will be followed up with some type of attack. Right? So in other words, at a certain point, you have to say, okay, dude, these kicks aren't working. Swinging is not always working. I've got to punish all these parry attempts. Right? And the bad thing about that is I really do not like doing a lot of BS's. But against a guy who's so good at these ridiculous blind parries, what else do you do about it? Case in point. Now we're going to go ahead and watch this match. Right? And I don't know if he's going to do it this particular time, because I know he was doing it a few times. And I really didn't memorize the matches. But I do know that you will definitely know that. And actually, that wasn't intentional. He kind of backflipped into that one. So let's just go ahead and watch this guy's gameplay. And I want you guys to just study his movements and his tactics. At a certain point, usually once it gets down to the wire, right, he'll just kind of start running up to you with the shield. And what do? Bam, you see that? If you notice a few movements back, he was kind of contemplating it. Now, granted, he's got the red tear stone fired up. You know, so I do have to be paranoid, but I have to attack this guy, right? And the thing about it is he has arrows just like me, so it's not like I can kind of pick him off with the arrows, especially saying that he's got the red tear stone fired up. So do I really want to take a chance with as little vitalities I have? No. Right? And not only that, he also almost caught me with that. Not only that, he also has the pyromancy. So I also don't want to take a chance with that. So this guy is pretty much hitting you in so many different directions. I mean, what do you really do about it? See, he's doing it now. You notice? He's kind of studying my move. When he starts doing that is when he's kind of gauge your movements. He's doing it again. You see that? Okay, I guess he realized. And the thing about a good parrier, they're not necessarily intimidated by the swing, because he don't really care. See, he's doing it now. He's trying to gauge. Okay, now what is this guy doing? You guys see the nonsense I have to deal with when I'm here in the Burg? Come on, dude. Are you really that desperate for humanity that you have to interrupt? Are you serious? Get a life, dude. And then he's hitting him with the chain backstab. Okay. This is absolutely ridiculous. And actually, he might be in trouble because, well, not anymore. He's got to pop the divine blessing. Alright, now, this part is where we really have to be careful, because since we're in such a narrow space, a lot of times what I have noticed is you'll get two people who are on a space like this, you know, like a bridge like this one or the one over in Dark Root, and you'll get both the host and his help right behind each other, right? And if you're dealing with a pretty good invader, they'll get the beating up on one person, and the person who's getting beat up cannot retreat, right? Because his help is standing right behind him. And this is why I'm kind of standing off in the distance and trying to hit him with my arrows, right? Because in the event the short gets in trouble, I wouldn't want to prevent him from being able to retreat. Alright, so hopefully that'll be the end of this guy. Alright. So let's kind of go back into it. Alright. Alright, now if you notice, he's trying to gauge me again. And that guy would do that pretty often. And he has definitely got the timings right on those type of parries. Me, on the other hand, I have the timing pretty much down packed with the setup parries. Right, so if you're one of those guys who are kind of like spamming, and I have the intention on parrying, I'm pretty good on the spamming attacks. But this guy is pretty good. Now, I know you guys kind of heard me talk about predictions. I think he's pretty good at predictions. Now, so-called predictions, what a lot of people say, are not actually predictions. You know, some people will just go ahead and throw out like 50 parry attempts and eventually hit one. That's really not a prediction. That's just kind of like, you know, you make so many attempts and you finally get lucky. And I'm not saying that, you know, he doesn't do it, because he definitely hit a lot of parry attempts, but he also get a lot of success with the parries. Well, alright guys, this looks like it's pretty much the end of this particular vid. So stand by for the next episode. Martyrs Brigade is out.